fund launch that is focused on at this juncture primarily the U.S. mortgage market, and really kind of looking to pivot across securities and loans. So the agency MBS market, non-agency RMBS, CMBS, and whole loans. And these are obviously kind of very large, scalable markets. There's kind of definitely been opportunities across the securitized product space to add alpha. So our strategies are very much driven by security selection and kind of looking for mispricings and opportunities, and also kind of moving away from some of these sectors that might be more fully priced into sectors where there's opportunity for to pick up some of these mispriced options. And my background, to kind of give you a little bit of that, I've been involved in mortgage markets for 20 plus years. From a trading standpoint, from a portfolio management standpoint, from a structuring standpoint. I was on the buy side at a firm called Pine River for 10 plus years, where I was one of the senior portfolio managers, and I headed up the mortgage credit business at one of their public entities called Two Harbors. So there I focused on non-agencies, whole loans, securitization. Prior to that, I was on the sell side for about 10 years. I was at Credit Suisse for about half of that within the mortgage department, where I worked within agency derivatives and.
Thank you for sharing that, sir. Thank you for sharing that. Have you already built your own fund before? Have you already launched your own fund before?
This is our first launch, so we have not launched a fund before.
Okay, understood. And what the expected return for the first year?
The expected return would be kind of in the mid double digits.
In which way?
I'm sorry?
In which way? How it would be that?
I'm sorry, I'm not catching your question.
Yeah, I mean, the expected return, what it would be exactly. I didn't catch your own answer.
Oh, I said in the mid double digits, so something around 13 to 15%.
Okay.
With upside to kind of the high teens.
Okay, and as you have already mentioned right here, you have already been a portfolio manager before. Have you already generated that for others clients or others investors before through your own expertise?
Yes, in fact, some of the returns that I've had in my prior fund management has been kind of in the 20 to 20+% range.
20+%.
Yes.
Has that been constantly, or was it like 1 year, or was it like it was like 1 year every each 5 years?
It's been over the course of 10 years. With some of the early years post-crisis, sometimes in the neighborhood of 40 to 50%.
Understood. And why are you looking to launch your own fund right now? Why haven't you done that before?
Well, that's a good question. It feels like this is kind of just the right time organizationally. We're doing this out of a platform from that was launched 10 years ago from a Pine River colleague, Dundon Advisors, which is providing all sorts of organizational benefits so that it's easier for us to do this. So that there is a kind of an operating platform. So I feel we have kind of a very good team in place. That there are a couple of former colleagues and portfolio managers that would look to join as we launch this. So listen, I mean, these things are never easy to pull off. So I think we're at a point now where we have kind of kind of critical infrastructure and a team that is interested to pursue this. So these markets are kind of very deep and large and scalable with with an opportunity for alpha. So it just kind of feels like the right time for us.
And so it's like more, so is it like more about you have already brought in the best team management who can actually handle the momentum that you are looking to create with the fund? Is that what you said?
We have not fleshed out the team in that people have not joined yet. But we anticipate bringing those people in when we have the capital in place. But we have identified them and have a working team in place that has not yet become part of the organization. Just to kind of be clear about that.
Got it. Understood. And since when have you already planned to launch the fund? Is it like something you just came up with recently, or is it like you have already planned to do that like a few years ago?
We've been working on it in kind of the last few months. So we've started to engage with various prime brokers to kind of look for capital introductions. And currently we're kind of looking for someone on the marketing side to help us, which is kind of what brought us to you.
Okay, so it was the last 3 months. That's what you have already done.
Yes.
Yeah, we're relatively new in terms of going to market. We've been doing the work in the background. We've got a sample portfolio that's been built. We're just now starting to talk about how do we let the world know that we're ready to start having serious conversations.
Understood. Got it. But as you have already mentioned to me, Paul, so you have already a successful company by the side, correct?
So we're part of Dundon Advisors. And Dundon Advisors is a restructuring firm, and the owner is very keen to kind of diversify the business into other things. We have a broker dealer that's being built as we speak, but one arm that he's very focused on, and he comes from that arm as well as the asset management side and starting to manage external money. So the thing that makes us a little bit different from a regular startup is the fact that we have infrastructure in place. We can afford to keep the lights on and the power going. As we start to market, we're not solely reliant on getting money in to get the company going.
Interesting. And what's the financial vision for the fund? Where are you looking to take the fund to with the next 3 years, if you say that?
Well, as a starting point, given kind of the highlight that I gave you, kind of playing across all these sectors that are kind of large scalable sectors, we kind of envision starting with something in the neighborhood of 200 million, and this fund certainly has the scale and the capacity to grow to north of $1 billion fairly easily. So would we take a commitment kind of 75 to 100 to start? That would probably be the minimum starting area for it. But that's kind of the range of I'd say I don't envision us starting it necessarily if we can't start with 75 to 100.
Okay, understood. So as you have already mentioned right here, you can scale up the fund to over 1 billion, as you said right here. You have the capacity to manage that. Have you already seen anyone from your own competitors in the industry who has already done that before?
Well, I mean, the mortgage and securitized product area is certainly not a new it's not a new sector. So there are various players in that sector that kind of the more we're the more traditional kind of credit hedge funds from kind of back in the day. There's one in particular, Ellington, who kind of most people think of kind of one of the more traditional mortgage hedge funds, given kind of the management expertise. Like those guys are all kind of mortgage, old mortgage traders from the sales side. But so there are a handful of mortgage funds, not specific to kind of just mortgages, but they operate in kind of the bigger kind of credit space, inclusive of mortgages.
Understood. I mean, the funds that have already raised over 1 billion in asset management, how long like it taking them to rise out in usual, as you have already seen that in the industry?
Well, it can happen in some cases fairly quickly.
How it can happen very quickly from what you can see from your own expertise?
From my expertise, I've seen capital raises happen quickly from perhaps prior relationships of people that kind of spin out from certain funds in these sectors that where investors have a lot of familiarity. But there's certainly I know of certain funds that are kind of operating in the like 100, 200, but I know of many that kind of start up and kind of scale up to like 700, 800 to $1 billion in short order. But to be fair, a lot of that connectivity has been from what I've seen been driven by perhaps prior relationships of their LPs.
Okay, and today do you have that?
Well, we have a little bit of that, but perhaps not to the same extent, given that like we're not trying to spin out from an existing fund where we can kind of take one of our LPs with us. So which is why we're reaching out perhaps to someone like you that can kind of help connect us better than what we can do ourselves.
Got it. So as you have already mentioned, Paul, you are looking to raise 75 million up to $200 million this year. And today, do you have any investors in the pipeline that you have already started to talk with, or do you start to have conversation with on the fund, or you haven't actually got any connection with them directly yet?
We have some direct connections with people, yes.
Okay, how's this conversation going?
Well, it's a process. As you know, it's we've had some conversations with seeders that have expressed interest. So we've had like several calls with with pensions. So I mean, we don't have a firm commitment at this point, but we have some ongoing conversations.
That's great. What they are telling you for sponsors? What they're giving you for sponsors?
I'm sorry.
What they're giving you for sponsors? What they are telling you exactly? Is it like they want to see more momentum? Is it like they're looking to invest for later on? Is it like they want to see more the legal documents? What they are looking, what they want to see from your own fund, from your own party?
I think we're seeing a lot on the same. We really like it, like the story. Some of them are allocated already this year in this strategy, but want to keep conversations going. Others are saying let's keep talking, let's keep watching you. Nobody wants to be that first guy, but from what conversation we've had is once the first guy's in, there's quite a few that are very interested in coming in shortly after. So I think with any startup, the hardest part is obviously getting that seed capital in through the door. But there's a lot of interest from the guys we've spoken to. We've not gone out, crazily marketing this. We're not sending blasts out or anything like that just yet. We're right at that stage. We've really spoken to guys that the cap intro teams of the banks have said, "Hey, look, you should speak to these guys. They're really interested," and they've all been really positive conversations. But just we're not at that stage yet where they're pulling the trigger.
So they are looking to invest, but for later on. Is that what you said?
We've had people who potentially would look to invest later. We've had people who are interested and would love to do something with us, but they're just overinvested in kind of the fixed income strategies for this year. And there's probably less than 1% of the available seed capital out there, just because we don't know our way around that marketplace as well as someone like yourself, for example.
Okay, and so what do you think about the process exactly? I mean, from your own perspective, you know the project more than me. How do you think that would actually, or what do you think that you need to do in order to rise the capital targets that you're looking to rise?
I think a lot of it's just speaking to the right people and getting the word out there. Dundon Advisors is not well known in the hedge funds industry. They're incredibly well known in the kind of iBanking, liquid finance restructuring industry. But I think it's having a strategy in place for marketing the fund to the right people at the right time. We're starting to do some conferences later in the year now. Potentially looking at iConnections down in Miami next year, or if not next year, definitely the year after. It's just really, once you get that momentum going, it's keeping it going. But we've yet to, we just at that very starting line of starting that whole process.
Understood. Do you have sales team today?
We have a couple of people who are helping us sell. We've not brought a full sales team on yet. Until we get the actual, seed capital, and then we'll look at the market and strategy. But myself, Victor have been heavily involved. Cara, who's here, is heavily involved as well.
So you guys will be on the sales calls with the investors for later on to close them in the beginning. Is that what you said?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important that the PMs, the guy who's going to be the senior PMs on as well.
And certainly, there is the possibility to bring in our, the other PMs that will be involved at launch, but they can participate in kind of meetings when we present as well.
Okay, understood. And do you have any metric on the close up rate? Have you already raised any capital, or have you already closed any institutional investors before?
Not for this project, no.
Yeah, I mean for other projects before, have you already worked on closing capital from investors, from LBS? Have you already been in the environment, in the industry deeply internally on how you can close capital?
Pine River was a very large fund, so it had an active marketing group that was highly involved in those closings. So from time to time when there was a need for kind of portfolio managers to participate in meetings, kind of I would do that. So indirectly, yes, and a lot of the subsequent focus of mine was also one of their public funds that sourced its capital from the equity market. So the funding sources were somewhat different. They weren't kind of private LPs, but more so capital raisings from the market.
Yeah,
back in 2011, 2012, I helped set up a hedge fund that lived in the kind of the movie finance space. We had a lot of investor conversations, and we raised some capital there as well. Very different strategy, very different time, different environment, but I was part of that as well.
How much have you already raised right there?
We raised, I think it was 15 million.
15 million.
Which was exactly what we wanted to raise at that stage, given the strategy.
Okay, got it. I just want to confirm that, because if you are looking to raise capital, you're looking to have conversation with institutional investors, the real players. You have completely different strategy on how you can sell to them. You understand? You can't be competitive on the calls of hold the frame on them, because directly they will see that directly on you, and they will not be interested to take any conversation further. You got it? Maybe you have already seen that before, correct?
Yeah, right, okay.
Yes, that's exactly why I'm telling you. So closing deals from investors is a completely different way than closing deals from customers or clients. Okay. However, do you have the legal documents? Do you have the BBM, the investor agreement, in the place today?
It's in draft format, but we haven't got a subscription agreement or anything in place yet. We're just starting that process. What we have is a marketing doc, which I sent to you. There's a supplementary doc as well, which we can send over to you as well. You can look at.
Yeah, I would love to, but you don't have any legal work, or you don't have any regulated fund yet. Has that fund been regulated?
We haven't got a fund set up yet. The reason we've not done that is because to do so, obviously, is to register as an RIA here in the US. Immediately, that's incredibly onerous with the SEC. And the owner of the business didn't want to go down that road to do that until such time as we had some really good conversations. So It doesn't take long to structure a fund and set it up. We can have it done within 90 days easily. I think it's just really, let's start talking to some of the investors first.
I'd say the moment we have a more significant indication of interest from someone, we will start that process.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So what do you have for us as materials right now that you can send over to me, Paul, after the call?
I believe Paul may have sent you some marketing materials on the strategy already.
Yeah.
Yes, I have seen that, but I mean, besides that, I would love to take a look on the terms that you would have for later on in the investor agreement that you will present to the investor. So I can take a look on the terms, the structure that you would use when you will provide that to the investors.
Well, to be frank, we're relatively open in terms of kind of discussing that, especially with kind of an early stage kind of seed investor. I mean, we would, entertain, also kind of, an SMA format if that's interesting to someone. There's some very basic terms that we've kind of highlighted in the back of that. Pitch deck. But the reason why we haven't kind of specifically framed it is because, first of all, we haven't set up the legal entity, and we're also looking to to partner with with an investor and kind of work with them. So.
Okay, got it. Okay, you have already received some materials about us along with the video on our owner program. Have you been able to take a look on them?
Sorry, you broke up there. Yeah, can you repeat it?
Yeah, sure. So as I said you have already received some materials about us along with a video on what we are doing. Have you been able to take a look on them?
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either.
Okay, no worries, guys. Okay, so what we can do here after the call directly is you can take a look on the materials, and along with that, I will do a quick due intelligence, and I will make sure to get back to you. Thank you for your own time, gentlemen.
Great, thank you so much.
Appreciate your own time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.